Hello, and welcome to the Joy Link, where we empower and inspire others to expand in joy. I'm your co-host, Brian, and I'm joined by the always lovely Julia. Hi, Julia,
Hello.
how are you?
Hi, Brian. I'm doing well. So today we will be talking about a topic I think that it's close to my and Brian's heart. We'll be talking about joy around the world. And actually, we are both world travelers. I'm wearing that label with such a pride and honor because I do feel extremely grateful and privileged to be able to see so much of the world.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So my hope with this episode is to bring a little bit of that to you, right? So today we'll be talking about quite cool concepts, which is hygge, fika,
Gezellig.
lekker, gezellig, ikigai. And also I will be talking about one of the books that I was reading, which is called The Geography of Bliss. And there will be some insights there. And also Brian have prepared for you some events around the world. So here I would encourage you to watch this with video, so you can see what is he showing, but otherwise we will try to do our best to describe it. And at the end it will be more detailed. I will be talking about Hofstede cultural dimension theory and how the joy can be experienced on both of the spectrums, because there is no right or wrong. There is no perfect way to experience joy. There are some countries and cultures that they are predisposed, that they are more likely to experience joy and happiness and than others, but there is no, yeah, you can still do it no matter what, no matter where you are, you can still do it. So don't worry, let's dive in. So the Brian, how do you pronounce it? Gezellig?
Yeah, here in the Netherlands, there is a word called gezellig, right? And right, the G's are G's, right? They're really rough, right? Gezellig. And that, that word really means that, there's no real English translation of that word, right, into another word. It's more like an experience of something that's like cozy and absolutely perfect. Like you wouldn't change anything about it. It's just, you feel it, and then it like really draws you into the moment of the awareness of, wow, this is gezellig. Right. So yeah, there's lots of joy in there as well. Like if you're having a dinner party with some friends, or you're at a right, like a music festival or something, and you come out of the big party and you're, just gathering up some friends and going to get some drinks or something. Oh man, that's so gezellig, right? Yeah, so that's a fun one.
Yeah,
Gezellig.
I shouldn't be laughing because it's in Denmark, it's exactly the same word. It's hygge or hyggely. So when you do something, the definition of that is it's a cozy, it's a cozy wait, I lost my notes, but it's okay. It's like this feeling of coziness, it's a feeling of joy. So a lot of things can be hygge or hyggely, right? That it's, you can, going for a walk can be hyggely, like staying at home and reading a book can be hyggely. And this is something that is really cool, that as we spoke in the episode of the science behind joy, that joy is activating this parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for a feeling of peace and calm, right? Versus happiness is like this active. So hygge is more on the calm, like peaceful spectrum. It's not like dinner with friends and nice conversation will be hyggely, but like going to the big party, it's not within the definition of hygge, I would say. So it's quite interesting, but it's also, I think there is a lot of these concepts coming from Scandinavia, because in Sweden they have fika, and it's quite cool. And they have this. It's described as like more than a coffee break. And also there is this chain in Scandinavia. It's called Espresso House, and they have like this fika club. So it's
Uh-huh.
it's this cultural practice that it's inviting to taking a break during the day and enjoy coffee or a pastry with friends or colleagues. So it's like this
Right.
really making people stop what they do during the day and just being present with their coffee and pastry. Or yeah, just I think it's really cool that it's like this moment of the day being associated with something that it's more than a coffee, it's more than a cake. And that's something that Mayu was talking in the episode about
Yeah.
ikigai. So I think that's a pretty cool concept as well.
Yeah, and taking a break and relaxing together, right? Having a drink, having a piece of cake or something, and just yeah, breathing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's really gezellig or fika.
And I think the last concept out of this series, ikigai, that what you could hear about, which is the joy of living and kind of the what makes it worth living for you. And that's something that my guest Mayu was talking in the episode 2. So if you want to
Right.
listen more about ikigai, then go there.
Yeah, that was a really good one too. You know, she went really in depth into how the Japanese experience ikigai differently than the West, right? It's something that's deeper inside of them and the culture that they share with everyone. So yeah, that one's a really good one.
Yeah, and also, so it's quite interesting. I was messaging Brian some weeks ago about this happiness research, the Happiness Research Institute in the Netherlands, and there is one also in Copenhagen. So I find it quite interesting that we're both living in the countries that they are considered among the happiest in the world, and we have the podcast called The Joyling. So is it coincidence? I don't think so.
Right. Yeah, something in there makes sense for us. So yeah, we're gonna do our best to do some interviews with them, right? Get in contact and see what we can come out of with them. Uh,
Yeah, I'm so curious about the Danish versus the Netherlands, the Dutch
right.
version. I think that would be so cool.
Yeah,
I will
right.
try. I will do my best to set it up. I
Right.
think that would be so much fun. Like just to talk with like overall like working in the Happiness Research Institute, that could be pretty cool. But if
Yeah.
that's something that interests you guys, then there is this book that is called The Geography of Bliss, written by Eric Weiner, and it's pretty fun subtitle. It's like 1 grams search for the happiest places in the world. So
Nice.
the book is divided by chapters, and in each chapter the author is going into different country that is considered by the happiness research um, as the most happy. And what is cool that in this um, like in this institute they come up with some conclusions. So for example, that uh, the people that they are married, they are happier than the single people, that people that they have money, they are more happy than the one that I don't, that people, and it's like all sorts of assumptions, right? And then the guy, he's going around the world to verify that. And in his journey, he's going to Switzerland, and where he find out that the reasons of the happiness and joy of the people, it's the um avoiding conflicts that takes
Oh,
a lot of energy, and
right.
it's also enjoying the nature. So yeah, so that's really cool concept. And then he's going to Bhutan, where he discovers how spirituality and Buddhism contribute to overall happiness of the citizens, right? So it was also fascinating. Then he's going to check out the thesis if the money brings happiness, and he goes to Qatar. And what do you think, Brian? Are people
Oh,
happy in Qatar or not really?
I haven't been to Qatar. Yeah, in the culture, I'd say there's a bit more conservative, or they're not overly joyful, I would say, right? Because things are more muted, right?
Yes, so
Yeah.
actually in the book it's like that there is lack of culture, that everyone is living on such a high standard that there are literally no convenience store, because the people that they are working for, the rich ones, they don't need convenience, like they are here to work. And so there is very little of culture, and also that it's not a nice environment to be, because it's very hot there, right? So it's unforgiving environment. People are spending a lot of time inside or in AC, and because of that there is very little happiness. So it's also cool that he's
Wow.
bringing that up, that it's not only about,
Right.
money, to because yeah, people in Qatar are the wealthiest one, and it doesn't mean that they are the happiest. And yeah, there was also like Iceland, that they had a lot of time to create during the winter, that was made them happy. Then the guy, he was like, okay, I've been to several happy countries, I'm done with it, let me go somewhere where it's not happy. And he
Right.
went to Moldova.
Wow.
And
Okay.
then due to like his story, like it's quite reasonable why people are not among the happiest, but it's
Right.
also their mindset that it's like that keeps them kind of away from experience this happiness and joy, because they
Right.
had such a harsh past, right? So they cannot let go of it to actually experience it in today's life. Yeah,
Makes
and then
sense.
yeah, and then he's going to, and that's the conclusion that I like the most out of this book, that when he went to Thailand, he realized that the happiness of Thai people, it's coming from not taking life too seriously.
Yeah. And I have a good example of that coming up soon as well.
Yeah, you can go for it. So that's the book pretty much, that is sharing like different perspectives of the country. So yeah, it's often easy to imagine that the grass is greener somewhere than where you are
Mhm.
not, right? That the other country is more joyful, or you will be more happy. Like for example, like me coming from Poland, I had this reality check going to the US, where everyone is saying that this is like American dream, that this is the best place to be, living not that far from New York, where the dreams are made of. Right?
Right.
Well, I did not choose to stay. That's what I can say. And Brian coming from Chicago, he's also not there. So it's
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. It's really subjective as
Yes.
well. There and you have to think about when those songs were made, or what year, what era, let's say. But yeah, there are a lot of different ways that countries experience joy, and it's really dependent on the different cultures and how they celebrate, right? Because to me, they're a bit of the same frequency, the celebration and joy, right? They're linked, right? So if you're celebrating something, you're joyful. And if you're joyful, well, you're celebrating in the moment. So they're really linked together. So to find the joy around the world on a very big scale, we can look at those different ways that the countries celebrate. And so I've got three different countries here, and starting, of course, with the US, right? My personal experience. And I'm going to share the screen on this one so we can just have a show and tell as well, because that's a lot more fun than just listening to me talking about a place. We can actually see the place. So, first, starting out with on the 4th of July. Right. So this is, yeah, it's where I grew up in the States, and the 4th of July is a big celebration, the Independence Day. And they have fireworks, and there's markets and carnivals and, big barbecues, and it all leads up to a really cool big fireworks display at the end of the day. Right. So you got your barbecue and your family around, and and then at the end of the day, the entire sky lights up, and it's something that you can all share together. Yeah, the big fireworks display, and everyone's sitting on the blankets and the grass because it's in the middle of summer, and everyone's sitting around in awe, right? And it's just this big show. And it's about an hour and a half, something like that. And there's a lot of good, wholesome fun that comes out of this, right? Some big fireworks displays that go on throughout the big cities. And then, of course, those backyard barbecues throughout the day and that. So it's like this big feast of red, white, and blue. And right, it's the country's Independence Day.
Yeah,
So,
flags everywhere.
right, right. Flags everywhere. People are just happy because it's a holiday as well. And then it's nice fun with the family. Everybody just goes home and hangs out together. And then it's a chance to see everybody. So, there can be a lot of joy when you're around socially connected, right? And then the second one is for my, let's say my second home, and that is here in the Netherlands,
Is that
right?
the King's Day?
Yeah, yeah, this is a shot from the King's Day.
Oh
And
my God, I heard about it. I heard that you changed the king's birthday name, right, with a new king, and some tourists are coming in there wearing orange hoodies in the wrong days.
oh, right. Yeah, it used to be called Queen's Day because there was a queen. And then she passed the mantle to her son, and now it's King's Day, right? And it's all about people are celebrating his birthday, right? So it's just a big party around the country. And I've been living in the Netherlands since 2004, and it's about 20 years already. And everybody dresses up in orange, right? And it's like head to toe outfit, some people, and the stupider you look, the better. Right? It's like flags on your cheeks and crazy hats, and people swarm in the streets, and all the public transport shuts down, and they're just getting in and out of Amsterdam is pretty difficult. There's huge music festivals, and yeah, the people flood the streets, and there's big street parties, and canals are all clogged up with boats and barges and DJs just booming. Yeah, here's a nice one, right? DJs just booming EDM music, and it's literally just crazy time, right? And it's yeah, a lot of people say it's some of the best parties in Europe, right?
When is the King's Day now?
End of April. So it was just past a couple months ago.
Okay.
And yeah, there was a shot of kids before, and so the kids come out and they play games and they play instruments, and they can make some money. They just set a hat out, and people are right putting their coins in there. And there's yeah, like I said, the huge music parties and the open air free concerts, and people are rocking like everywhere you go. It's crazy. And you can just take a backpack full of drinks, and then you don't have to go and wait in any lines and stuff, and you're just running around. And it really it's quite a wild scene, right? And everyone's just kind of letting loose and celebrating as far as the eye can see, really. And it really lifts your spirit to see everybody celebrating and laughing and just playing and just having a good time and being silly and just dancing, right? Because you're just dancing all day. So it's a really wild ride, and see these goofballs on the boat in the bottom, right? And so it's definitely something I would experience if you get a chance. So yeah, there's a ton of joy in there, and you're just laughing a lot. So that's all really good fun because it's like some big party that everybody comes together, and then the next day it's the most quietest, and like everybody's sleeping the next day. Right. So it's this, you get 1 million people, or no, like 2 million people flood the city. And then the next day, everyone's gone and sleeping, and all the trash is gone as well. It's just like it never happened, and the
Mm.
city's just sleeping. So it's really quite a wild time. But then back to Thailand on the Thai New Year, which is around the same time, right? It's mid-April, 13th through the 15th. The whole country shuts down, and they just have a big party for a few days, and it's wild. So I got to experience this back in 2003, and it was amazing, right? So it's a countrywide water fight, right? And it doesn't matter if you're in a big city or you're out in the jungle or whatever. If somebody sees you, they're going to dump a bucket of water on you. And people got their water guns out, and or they're going to throw a cup of water at you, and it's awesome. And so if you're walking around, you're going to get it, right? And that's like the fun part. And so the tourists come out for it just for these couple of days, and everybody gets into it. And when I was there, I was in the northern city of Chiang Mai, and there was a buzz in the city that was like really something you could feel, right? And so we got our tuk-tuks for the day, right? I was traveling with a friend of mine, Jenny, and we both got tuk-tuks with our own drivers, and we had these buckets of water next to us and our squirt guns that we were just filling up, and we were just running around the city like for half the day and just squirting everybody. Right. And it was just crazy. And it's just people walking down the street, or they're on their bikes and we're squirting, or they're in cars. It doesn't matter. The big reason is all about washing away what they call like the sins or the experiences of the year before, right? It's the new year. And so you're also ushering in the good luck from the year to come. So you actually want to get wet, right? Like that's the big concept. And
Mhm.
then when you do get wet, you're all smiling and right, people are having fun and everybody turns into like a big 7-year-old, right? And it's just this guy's on a moped, good luck, buddy, right? Because he's just gonna get it. And there's a lot of other aspects to it as well, with like great food and family gatherings and going to temple and yet right, you're gonna get wet. And that's really part of the fun part, along with the concept of really ringing in the new year. So I would highly recommend like all three of those for like really getting into the joy
Yeah,
of
I
being with everybody.
definitely, yeah, I experienced the 4th of July. It was cool. Um, I think I experienced it twice. One was in Seattle, and the first one must have been in New York, but I remember the Seattle one better, or maybe I was traveling. Doesn't matter, but it's really cool. And also, what I find it interesting how food and joy links together. So I think that should
Yeah,
be a separate episode. I don't know
right,
with whom we could talk about it. Maybe like some chef, or yeah, I think that
right.
would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to sum up today's episode, like there is this man, Hofstede. I think it was him that he had parents from 2 different countries, and he started to notice that I might be confusing with. Okay, but if yes, then please let me know, and then I will fix it the next time when we'll be talking about the culture. That he was brought it up in 2 different the parents were from 2 different countries, and the boy started to experience like that he had to behave differently depending on the situation, depending on the country that he was in. And
Huh.
basically there is this like this is the background story, but if I'm wrong then just forget it. But then there is this model of Hofstede cultural dimension theory, and in this model he's taking, there are 6 different ways to look at the country, and that's kind the combination of those 6, depending on the spectrum, you can describe pretty much any country. So basically it's a power distance, it's about individualistic versus collectivistic society, about masculinity versus femininity. There is something called also uncertainty avoidance index. There is long-term orientation versus short-term orientation, and then there is indulgence versus resistance. So depending on where the given country or where the given culture is in the spectrum, that's something else that brings joy. So, for example, in the masculine versus feminine society, different, let's say, different things brings joy, to be honest, because in the masculine it's like one man for every man for themselves, right? So it's
Right.
the joy brings like the achievement, the striving for the greatness by the individual, right? But let's say in Scandinavia, where it's more feminine, it's about being collective together and like having this higgly moment with other people and kind of this. So it's totally different energy, but the joy is in both, like, but it's
Right.
just slightly different end of the spectrum. So I find it super interesting to and relevant when we talk about joy around the world. But yeah, just a quick mention, if you are interested to that, I will link more in the show notes. And yeah, it's time for the tasks of the week. And
Yeah.
based on Brian's presentation, this is the task.
Knowing that there are these different ways that cultures around the world really experience joy collectively, the challenge for the week is to find that event, find that cultural gathering that you can be a part of to celebrate with everyone this summer. So what could it be? If it's something local that you could be with, your local hometown group, or is something that you can travel to experience something new, because there's joy in travel and experiencing new things as well. And then, of course, being with a big group of people. So what would that be for you? Like, where would you go? And what would you do? What would you experience? You can feel free and share that in the comments as well. And then that's something for us to figure out too.
It's also now it's a perfect opportunity because it's the summer months and fall, so there are a lot of events around it. Yeah. So and also there is Christmas. If you need to wait so long, then there is always something to experience joy with others.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening. We see that more and more people are listening to us and watching, so we're extremely grateful. And if there is something that we could do better or something that we could do more of, please let us know. And thank you so much, and have a great day or evening or night, and enjoy. Bye.
Yeah. Ciao.